Well, I want to welcome you to today's podcast. And I know for a lot of you, you're probably wondering, why do I need to know all of this? Why do you want to talk about this particular aspect of it? What does it mean to really be able to deal with confrontation? Well, see, if you want to be a success, in other words, you want to push through to what you know you need to do, you're going to have to know how to be able to handle what happens when it comes to you. And a lot of you are saying, I could just deal with it when it comes. Why do I have to worry about it now? I'm not asking you to worry about it. What I'm asking you to do is to make an investment in yourself to prepare. You see, the Olympic Games are 45 days away today on this podcast. If you're an Olympian right now, you're inside what they call the Olympic bubble. You don't have time for anything else. If you're a Paralympian, you got 76 days. But once you're inside 90 days, pretty well everything is done. Nothing is going to change. You have done all you're going to do in your life to be prepared. And in these last phases, you know what you're capable of doing. You know that you're strong enough. You know that you're ready. Or you know that you're not ready. Or you know that you're not sure. Believe me, every Olympian knows. And there are some that walk around pretending. Yes, there are lots of them that walk around pretending that they're ready. But they know they haven't done what they should have done. They know they need to do more. I want you to realize that it's the same in life. You have a dream, you have a goal, you wanted to have a life that went one direction in one possible way. And you thought everything would just fit together if it just came together that way. And we think that most of the time. But when you have to perform on demand and everything is chaos around you, it is those that have developed themselves to be able to handle the emotional upsets, the emotional barriers, the emotional characteristics that take place in your preparation so that you know what you're going to do when it happens. If you just joined me, I'm Jungle Jim Hunter, and this is 831 Living Your Best Life podcast, where we inspire participation, communicate precision, and empower performers to podium. And so I would ask you to tell your friends, your relatives, the people you work with to go to their favorite podcast provider. If you know somebody that really wants to be the best of the best of the best, have them listen to this podcast and try to learn from somebody that's been there, done there, has a t-shirt. I know what I know. The funny thing is that most of you will not go to somebody who has the expertise. You'll go to somebody who tells you what you want to hear. This podcast isn't that way. This podcast is here to help you become an 831er. So if you go to your favorite podcast provider or junglejimhunter.com or YouTube and you click on 831 or Jungle Jim Hunter, please subscribe, download, click on like, and rate and review us. Not on the basis of whether we entertain you, but on the basis of the value of what you're listening to, what you're getting. And sportology is the study and science of sport and how it affects life. And because we expect and demand that everyone plays by the rules, or you get disqualified, I love studying people that perform in sports so I can help everyone be the best they can be. So you're motoring along on the road of life, you're going down the road towards the Olympic Games, and sure enough, around the next corner comes an unavoidable bend in the road that you didn't see coming. COVID-19 did that to us, to life, to every one of us. And it's those of us who have trained ourselves emotionally to stay stable. Not those that are technically advanced, not those that are physically superior, not those that have all the tools in the toolbox. It's those that have the character inside them that gets them through the rough roads. And this happens every day in little things and big. However, most of us were never taught to deal with the little things, so we grow up blaming and excusing our behaviors and what we do when our emotions take over, never learning that we inhabit our ability to be our best and inhibit it, not only emotionally, but in other things, the moment you are out of control in an emotional situation. If you're out of control emotionally in a hockey game, you get suspended for 4 games. If you get upset on the road and then say something coming from anger in work, you alienate coworkers and yourself from them and then wonder why you can't get things done or find the help you expect from the people that work with you. We teach everyone here where we work with Sportology that as you head down the road, you are going to run into a confrontation that sidelines you on your path. Even if it's temporary, it still lingers and upsets your plans. Silken Laumann was born in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, along with her sister Danielle, and together they won a bronze in the double sculls in the 23rd Olympic Games in Los Angeles in 1984. In 1990, she won a silver medal in silver sculls at the World Championships, then repeated the following year. Leading up to the 25th Olympic Games in Barcelona, she was the favorite to win gold. 10 weeks before the Games, a German coxless pairs team unexpectedly ran into Laumann, shattering her right leg, exposing bone. Now think about that. That's 70 days out from the Olympic Games. We're inside the 76 days for the Paralympics. But 70 days out, she can see the bones sticking out of her leg and the calf muscle hanging off of her ankle. Silken was told, "You will never row again." In 5 operations and 27 days later, she was back on the water in late June. By August 2nd, 1992, she won bronze, making one of the greatest comebacks in the history of sport. In 1996, at the 26th Olympic Games in Atlanta, she won a silver in the single sculls, completing her career as a rower. Laumann was inducted into the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame in 1998 and awarded the Thomas Keller Medal in 1999 for outstanding international rowing career. Silken Laumann would have been traumatized and horrifically affected emotionally, and it is her emotional stability, strength, that would have allowed her to heal and deal with the pain in every flex of her leg every time she had to push the oars. What have you been affected by emotionally and learned how to overcome that gives you the ability to be strong enough to take what comes at you unexpectedly? We learn how to handle life by being groomed and prepared to handle not only the rules of the road you're on. You have to abide by the speed limit. You have to stay within the lines. You're supposed to put your blinker on when you change lanes. You're supposed to. Most people don't, but you're supposed to. But the rules of the jungle are the things that come at you unexpectedly that you don't see coming. People who become the best of the best of the best are like the first responders in an emergency situation. That's why I believe in it so much. They are trained to deal with emotional situations calmly. They have learned what we teach those that train with us that desire to learn how to handle the cloverleaf of life's challenges. So I want you to picture the old style cloverleaf where you're coming down the road and you've got to get off and all of a sudden you meet a challenger. You can't keep going. You got to deal with the mess. And if you deal with the mess and learn how to deal with the mess, you end up with a message. In other words, you can communicate what you learned and what you did. But if you just keep on going by it, you're just going to run into it again. And that cloverleaf means that you get off the road and you go around. And then if you want to get back going in the same direction again, you've got to go around the second cloverleaf. And then you've got to go around the third one and then around the fourth one and get back on the road. But if you don't learn something in the process of going through those 4 sides of the cloverleaf, you don't develop, you don't grow. And I know these are going to be a little bit longer podcasts than normal, but I want you to understand this, and I want to take the time to teach this to you. Athletes that we worked with were emotionally a wreck, became emotionally stable, and as a result of going through the cloverleaf of life's challenges and changes, became better athletes, not because I taught them how to jump and run and shoot the puck. I don't teach the sport. I teach you how to be a better you so that you can do the sport. I said I was going to talk about this all week, and today I want to talk about the first part of the cloverleaf. As I said, you're moving down the road of life. Things are great, but something unexpected happens. And you have to deal with what happened. You can't go flying by the exit. You have to deal with the 7 aspects that go with that part of leaving the road and having to deal with and manage the situation. Certainly, there is, number 1, an emotional reaction. You respond emotionally first. Everybody does. I do. I get upset every time I do this podcast because there's so much I want to teach you and so much I think about, but I have to calm myself. This is a calm Jim Hunter, by the way. Emotional reactions lead to feelings, the second aspect. And they lead to feelings about the situation and the people that are involved. And emotions and feelings turn into attitudes. You've all dealt with people who have attitude. And that part of them becomes part of your response each time your situation presents itself. So you deal with this difficult situation, you have an emotional reaction, you have feelings, and then all of a sudden you develop an attitude about it, and every time it comes up, you go where? You go to the same place. Why? Because it's part of who you are now, and you have to deal with it that way. With or without training, you develop thinking patterns that grow into automatic responses. The next time emotional upsets happen, we develop a surrounding conditions that generate an energy response about them. And soon, we start to expect that when emotional situations like this present themselves this way, each time you develop a first response to it, and soon it becomes automatic. So whatever an Olympic athlete has done, the way they were trained between the ages of 0 and 7. Yes, by 7 years of age, 72% of the psychological makeup of a human being is already determined. So whatever those kids that are going to the Olympics that represent our country, their emotional responses are already there. And unless they've trained them, the great thing is that we can train them. They will respond the same way when they get to the Olympic Games. And that's why some athletes know they're ready and some athletes know they're not. Every time you were yelled at, told you were no good, can't do something, will never make it, or just not like your brother or sister, each time an authority figure tells you you're no good, you're not good enough, or punishes you in some way, there is a good chance you will not want to make the same mistake again, because you go through the cloverleaf, and you feel these things until it becomes an automatic response. If you want your child, if you want yourself to be the best of the best of the best, the training starts today. It starts for you as a parent before you ever have a child. Because you're modeling in front of your child what you want them to become. My quote for the day is, your self-esteem goes up every time you do what needs to be done, and it shrinks every time we let the giant of emotions beat us up. You have to train yourself how you are going to teach the right things once your child is born. You have to teach yourself now to have better emotional responses so you can do better work, so you can be the kind of person you know you want to be. Another gold medalist gave me the best definition of how to respond to emotional upsets. A setback is a setup for a comeback. Silken Laumann could come back and compete after a broken leg, the bone sticking out of her leg, in such a short period of time because she knew that she was emotionally stable and could work through the pain. Through the challenge. You can fight to be technically sound, physically superior, but until you've wrestled the emotional gorillas in your life, an unseen competitor, that's what they are. Emotional gorillas are unseen competitors. Nobody sees them. And you take them out of the way, they can take you off the podium. And no one will know why. You'll watch, you'll be seen on television, and we'll wonder, what happened? I know it's a lot to take in. But I want to help you. I want to help you be the best you can be. Write me at jungle.jim@shaw.ca if you want help, if you want to grow. Tell me what you struggle with. I really appreciate you listening. Thank you. And I hope you will have grown and will be living your best life the next time we meet. Tomorrow we'll continue looking at the rules of the jungle. All this week we're going to talk about the rules of the jungle. The first one is confrontation. and the 7 aspects of it. The stuff we see, the stuff on the surface, the thing other people see when we respond emotionally. Thank you for listening.